Personally, I'm very much excited to play RedFall tonight, and there's no review score out there, no rage bait article, no content creator that will ever change that fact. But as a software developer, I want to kind of weigh in on a few issues that I see with this game. And so hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name's Brian if you happen to be new around here, but returning subscribers already know they're among some of the coolest mother out there. I'll bleep myself, mother out there. And thanks so much for coming back to check out this video. We're going to be talking about the problem with RedFall. And I think it's pretty obvious. I think the problems here are pretty obvious, both in an unfair way, but also in a concerning way. And so from that developer perspective, I want to talk to you guys as directly as possible. There have always been red flags with RedFall, but I do want to get to those in just a second. I want to talk to something actually more concerning personally. First and foremost, I feel RedFall is cannon fodder. It is cannon fodder for the console war out there, and this is going to generate so much content both on Twitter, here on YouTube, and wherever content is consumed. So in a way, there's going to be a lot of an entertainment factor if you are like a part of a sports team, if you like Sony, if you like Xbox. Nintendo's out there just being jerks to everybody, but we love them because they have the best IP. Anyhow, the Sony ponies out there feel that RedFall was stolen from them. And I think articles and leaks and things like that prove that view. So I do feel like Sony and their fan base is going to be, in a way, rooting for the failure of RedFall. And I disagree with that. I do not believe that anybody rooting for a game to fail is in the right. And I'll explain more why here in a second. Now, at the same time, the Xbots out there, Xbots out there, they're hyping this game up. They're trying to use this to dunk on PlayStation. Oh, Microsoft bought Bethesda. Well, that's also a concern and a problem because at its core, I think Game Pass is something well beyond anything that we're seeing within the console wars. I think it's fundamentally changing the way we play and consume games. And that's not to say it's all good. It's not to say that it's without its growing pains. It's to say that it is fundamentally changing it from, I don't believe Microsoft has a console in the dog fight, in the dog fight, maybe those words together. But more or less, their platform is Game Pass, and this is a game that's going to highlight that. Now, the other side of this, speaking as a software developer myself, my concern is when I see people actually throw shade at quote unquote the devs, lazy devs, and all the insults that people like to use against devs. Hands down, it's my experience that the devs are actually some of the hardest working and not paid appropriately people out there. And they're the ones who are going to get the hate first and foremost. I see this time and time again. I've hired devs out of Gearbox and they've been so thankful to leave gaming. And that's a travesty. That is a sad day when you have talented people who just can't put up with the poor working conditions and the low pay, and then obviously the blame for it all. I would like to separate and propose this. If you're ever tempted to say the devs, change it to saying the leadership or the publisher or a mix of both. Because in my experience, from where I stand, the fault lies with them and not the hardworking devs that are just trying to make a fun game. But no matter what, we're going to see that happen time and time again. If you see that happen online, lovingly try to correct that and educate that perspective. I know that the publisher and leaders all get thrown into the concept of the devs, but from my personal experience, it is a vastly different separation. And I think we should just try and root for the devs every opportunity that we have. Now, that doesn't mean you have to vote with your money. That's, again, why I think Game Pass is such an important feature of RedFall. But let's go ahead and talk about this. I get, like I said, the sports analogies and the console wars and the rivalries, but there is going to be all that crossfire that happens. And a lot of this discussion and opportunity to, as a gaming culture, grow and champion good ideas gets shot and gets lost in that fire. So I don't trust reviews. I have actually got away from the scored review. I just don't believe in it anymore because they're all paid for by ads. And if you are like me and you've been following gaming for any period of time, it's very fatiguing when you see this mindset. And that's why you see all of these articles trying to hit their SEO, that search engine optimization. It just feels so canned and we've seen the memes like too much water and things like that within gaming reviews. So I get that it's points against the console war, but I think we've really lost the way that reviews are handled. And we've seen that shift happen with content creation and why we've seen more people moving into that live stream take as opposed to anything else. The other side of this is that as a games as a service game, there is a red flag behind that. I personally love games as a service games, but if this game does not perform well, I think that's going to be me looking at it and saying, yeah, it should have come to PlayStation. You should try and open up these games, especially multiplayer games, to as many people as possible, which, guys, if you're new here, I anger the Sony ponies and the Xbox all the daggum time because I'm a gamer first content creator. I'm not a platform first content creator. And I think that's a key difference that I would love to encourage more people to have that gamer first mentality over a champion of some kind of piece of plastic out there. So in terms of this, a big red flag for me with Redfall is the fact that the embargoes do not drop until like the last minute. The counterpoint to that is it's Game Pass. So if you have Game Pass, you have this game, you're not spending any extra money. But when it comes down to it, we've already started to see quote unquote leaks of the reviews, like one leak saying kind of it's a 4 out of 10. I'm going to read it for you here right now. It says Redfall is an anomaly because the game this good of a team behind it can't possibly be this bad, and yet there it is. A lot of the drips, the looter shooter, RPG multiplayer elements sprinkled throughout, but none of them work together, delivering a messy and almost incomprehensible experience. Still, gunplay and exploration stay constantly fun thanks to the satisfaction of taking down enemies and the level design. That being said, the single player campaign is dull. The multiplayer campaign could provide bouts of fun comprised of laughing at the strange AI behavior, the fact that no one can find keys to a door, 4 out of 10. So I don't know. I don't know what to feel about that because these numbers all have meaning. There was a point in my life where if it was not a 9 out of 10 or plus, I didn't bother playing it. There's a lot of great games that I missed. So take that, quote unquote leaked review as a grain of salt. The other side of this, again, is the 30 frames per second on console, continuing to fuel that and continuing to see that people want to root for this game not to be a success, but 30 frames a second at launch with 60 confirmed later just tells me that it should have been delayed. And then leaked reviews say, should this have been delayed? This is a problem of leadership. This comes back down to that each and every time. And I'm feeling more and more of that with Xbox personally over the last couple of years. I hope that they can, and I do believe that they can turn it around. And no, I'm not looking at Phil Spencer. This is a big, massive company. I'm looking more actually at Microsoft in terms of some of their policies, like 18 months contract limitations within gaming, especially how games take 3, 4, 5 years to build, especially at, the high caliber ones. That's going to be a concern. The other side of this is also new IP. It feels like in terms of everything, any kind of new IP out there that has pre-marketing gives us content creators so much bandwidth to generate so much content to get the views, etc., that ultimately you end up hating a game before you even have a chance to play it, right? Again, Game Pass fixes that. Game Pass solves the problem of a high gatekeeping $70 price tag when it just offers you the ability to download and play it. And so I would encourage people to do so, form your own opinions and lead that into the discussion. But that's going to be a key aspect of it. So I think in this case, actually Redfall is a showpiece for Game Pass. It's on PC, console. I wish it actually was on PlayStation 5. I think that would have been a very good thing, especially with crossplay, cross-save, and play anywhere. This game gives me value for my Game Pass subscription, whether it ends up being a game that I know life or a game that I decide to just kind of pick up and play for a little bit. It adds to the overall library and value of Game Pass from here into perpetuity. And that's the value of it. And that's the threat of Game Pass. And that's essentially what's going to be interesting to see what happens with the Microsoft Blizzard deal and the CMA. I've seen even talks about Microsoft pulling out of the UK, costing them untold amounts of money, essentially just to say, all right, well, we don't need the CMA. But it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. With the delay, with the built up expectations for this game, I think this is going to be kind of a bloodbath. Like if the game, you're going to see people who are just going to hate on it because that's their team, like, oh, I don't, and there's going to be people who like enjoy it and play it. I don't think Redfall was ever going to be a massive over, like the thing everybody plays over and over and over again. But at the same time, I'm personally looking forward to it. I like shooters. I love that we're getting some vampire games for the first time in a long time. It feels like that. We've been stuck in Zombie Town, and it's great to see this, and I can't wait to experience it. And I love that it's a multiplayer game that I can kick back, relax, and hopefully shoot some vampires with you guys. If you want to join us, check out the Discord community, growing there every day by the day. And thank you guys. If you do decide to subscribe, if you're new around here and you enjoy the content, welcome in. It's great. We're slowly marching to this theoretical 100,000 subscribers here on the channel. Thinking about doing some giveaways. I haven't yet decided how that's going to roll out. So if you guys want to be a part of that, be sure to comment, be sure to like, be sure to be subscribed, because I'll start sharing details about that as we slowly move up to that milestone each and every time. Thanks guys so much for your time. Hopefully you got something good from the video. Hopefully you have a wonderful day, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video. But until then, take care.